And so let's talk about partnerships and driving growth. So when you're looking at the internal teams and the external teams working together, what does the true marketing growth partnership look like to you?
It starts with a common vision, right? What are we setting out to do? What are you doing? What are we doing? And how are we ultimately driving outcomes, right? We have agreed upon outcomes that we're seeking. It is not a transactional relationship, but we are trusting each other that we're going to be able to do it together. What I'm trying to get at is the agency isn't going to be the agency. The growth partner, your partner isn't going to be going alone. It's not like you write a brief and then the agency goes away and does some stuff and comes back and you critique it. With a core data set, sometimes called a digital core, where it's transparent, everyone has access to the same information. The client or maybe taking on the strategy role and really interrogating that, and we're bringing great executional powers. Maybe we're the brand owner, right? We're really setting that North Star for the purpose of the brand. And our clients are coming in with their commercial expertise, but it's all from this shared point of view around outcomes and a shared data set to operate from. So it's, I guess collaborative is an overused word, but so I'll sub in transparent. There's a workbench that we're all operating from. So we can see what each other is doing, and there's a really healthy back and forth give and take.
Yeah, there's not going to be one way. I mean, it's going to be highly dictated, again, by the vision and the culture of the organization and how that culture is an embrace culture together with your partner. So I think the foundation, as Enslow has talked about it, that shared transparency, shared tools, blending of roles will take place. How it takes place will be highly unique. And this is where we make sure that we're showing up differently in the marketplace as marketers.
And when we're looking at the partnerships together and that shift from a pure campaign engine to something that's more insight driven functionally, how can organizations measure the success there?
It's a great question. So obviously it needs to be tied to end outcomes, and those outcomes need to be tied into the data set. We've been working on a tool that we call the Relevance Index. A lot of external data points in it, but also can be tied into a client's data set as well. So you start with an understanding of what you think will move the market. If we're calling it a relevance index because it's on an actual scale, and then actually working to create prompts to predict how the market will move when you do certain outcomes. And so the end outcome wraparound into that is critical, but it all comes down to this digital core, which is stitching all of the data together, which is actually a lot harder to do than it sounds, but where the market is moving and where the front runners have already done it, not necessarily in pharma, but we see some of our non-pharma products clients having stitched together their end outcomes data with all of the data sets that they've had internally for years that have been, like sitting in these disparate places, all coming together so you can mine them in this transparent way for the future.
Are you using this relevancy index throughout the life cycle, through every stage, or is this, okay?
Yes. The relevance index is designed to be a predictive model for marketing activities, but it shows you how your relevance is increasing throughout the course of the work that you do. So you can course correct on the fly as well.
And we marry that with another one where it's the relevance gap, where we see, so that's the predictive part is the relevance index. And then when we get into the actual customer experience, we're looking in those areas that we know are the areas that we have to win. And we're seeing where the gap is on that customer experience. And that allows us to fine tune that relevant, more personal experience and drive the solutions that are going to ultimately deliver the outcomes. But again, I think the most important thing is the indicators. We've kind of been working off false indicators of progress or performance for a very long period of time. And I think the one thing that Gen AI and Gen AI, search and is going to completely change what really matters. And so those kind of false indicators of performance are going to go away very quickly. So this is why we spent a significant amount of time on what really matters, and that's the index and the relevance gap that's going to drive outcomes.
So how does the combination of intelligence, technology, adaptive teams, and performance accountability make marketing a true growth driver, especially when we're talking about pharma?
The marketing org now has the opportunity to move from being a cost center, an enabler of growth, but not really a driver of growth, to being a true driver of growth, to really bringing organizational value, because they can harness the power of all of the data and the tech and attach it to outcomes. It does require doing the hard work to do that. And that requires taking a beat to understand how you're going to reinvent your org. You need to set a vision for that reinvention for internal audiences, but you also need to set the vision for how you're going to reinvent your customer experience. So we talked about customer experience and business readiness operating together. It's critical. It can't just do the business readiness piece of the puzzle without really thinking through what the right customer experience is for your particular audiences. And again, all driven by what is the outcome that you're seeking to have? What is your purpose in the world? But that is the real opportunity on the table for marketers, and frankly, now is the time to launch yourself onto what is probably a multi-year journey to get there.